to look away. I just stop pretending, oh, you feel some type of way. Yeah, I'm in my purpose, I don't know what else to say. Out the cage, I'm here to stay. Rolling up my sleeves. I am not playing, I'm not playing, I am not playing. Hear what I'm saying, I am not playing, I'm not playing, I am not playing. Hear what I'm saying, I am not.
Hey, it is your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. No, really say that thing out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. Did you get your copy of It Takes One to Know One workbook and journal and People Pusher? I know you did. So now I'm just going to encourage you to open it up and do the work. Go over to pusherlife.org. Go to the office link. Get your copy of People Pusher and get on the waiting list so you can be the first to get your copy of Remember Me. Again, we have initiated healing 1 million people, one person at a time. Did you take the pledge? If not, go over to pusherlife.org, find the healing 1 million people link and take that pledge. You're not taking it from me. You're taking this pledge for you. And so without further ado, you in the chat, I just love and appreciate you all for always showing up and showing out, for always tapping in. You could be anywhere, but you choose to be right here pushing forward with us. So we're going to need your help on this evening. And so I want you to do what you always do, and that is just continue to push us forward with your encouragement, with your wisdom, and with your assistance. And remember, whatever questions you have, put them in the chat, and we will do our best to answer your questions. So without further ado, you know I like to maximize every second out of every minute in this hour. And so we're just going to go straight in full throttle, not holding back. Why? Because it has been a whole week since we all been together. And this week I have a new face that you all haven't had the privilege to meet or even hear. But I know this young lady. I really do. You know, I don't like keeping secrets. And so before I go on with my little spiel, I'm going to ask her to introduce herself. Hold up. Before she do that, shout out to your girl Pusher for not only being nominated, but receiving one of the highest awards that you could receive in this re-entry space, and that is a Presidential Volunteer Service Award. And I took that thing, I was getting ready to lie. I was overwhelmed and I tried to run out of that place, but you know who's always there, came and got me. That lady named Michelle came and grabbed my hand and walked me over. And when I got there, shout outs to Dr. Lady J from Woodstock, Baltimore, grabbed my hand and gave me a message from the ladies from the Maryland Correctional Institution for Women. And that just, OMG, it just started. I had to control the tears. You know, I'm a G. I had to hold it together. People was looking at me, but no, I couldn't control it. I was so overwhelmed, but I am so humble. I'm so grateful for my community, for my village, for always backing me, for seeing sometimes in me what I can't see in myself, and the fact that I'm receptive today to receive the accountability, to even receive the excitement, the accolades, and all of that. I receive it with a humble heart. But I'm at a season in my life where the work still got to get done. And so we back at it. We're going to put the celebration on hold and get back to business, because that is what's important. And that is my priority. Shout outs to you. So I am going to stop rambling, and I'm going to ask this beautiful young lady over here to introduce herself. Tell us who you are and what you bring in to the Pusher community.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rhonda Renee, formerly known as 912571. I am someone who has been incarcerated for 26 years. July the 31st of 2021 was my day of resurrection. It was the day that God told me, your time is up, your time is done. Allowed me to have the release that I needed. I am someone who is not a quitter. I do not give up. I do not let go. If I get a thing in my mind, I don't let that thing go until that thing is done. There's so much that has happened since I have been home that I could tell you about myself. But what I will say to you is I am a grandmother. I am a friend. I am a woman who has taken the opportunity to take full advantage of everything that was placed before me when I came home. I did not stop. I did not quit. It behooves me because if you would have asked me 5 years ago, where would I see myself today? I would not say I would see myself as a homeowner. I would not say that I would see myself as someone who is a supervisor of other people. I would have not said that I would see myself as someone who has the opportunity and ability to raise their grandchildren of the daughter who is deceased. I have taken the bull by the horns. I have my boots on the ground and I am not stopping until it is time for me to stop.
Wow. I know that's right, girl. I wish I had the sound effects. I would have gave you like some more applause. I know that's right. This is important. I did not plan for this to go this way. I told you, it's just organic. It happens naturally. I thought it do. And now that I'm sitting in this moment has came, and I didn't ask you a month ago. I just asked you a couple days ago. I had an idea. I just was sitting and I was like, ooh, because I've been seeing some things and I've been watching some things. And I'm like, hold up, this will be a great segue to have a different kind of conversation. And so on tonight, the topic is I remember. And so oftentimes I have this thing, yes, it's your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. Forward ever, backwards never. That sounds familiar to you, right?
Yeah, it does. Indeed. It definitely does.
Indeed. And so I want to expound on why we don't go back. We just look back. And so on tonight, I want to give those that show up an opportunity to see in real time what it looks like to just go back. I mean, to just look back. See, when you go back, sometimes you find yourself becoming vulnerable to wanting to stay there because things start feeling familiar. You start reminiscing and things start coming up. And some of us are not at a place where we can just look back for a frame of reference. See, purpose has to happen. And you have to have a sense of emotional intelligence to do this. And so I believe that you are a woman with emotional intelligence. And so on tonight, I remember. And so I want you to have the privilege to tell, because I'm oftentimes doing it, but I want on this evening to have you tell the people where you know me from.
Well, sorry about that. Turn this guy off. Well, what I can say is I know Pusher from 192 building A wing. Pusher slept in room 524. I slept in room 511. That was the first time that me and Pusher ever had the opportunity to meet. And if you're not familiar with it, that is the Maryland Correctional Institution for Women, 7943 Brockbridge Road, P.O. Box 535, Jessup, Maryland 20794. So, me and Pusher, we have a very, very long history. You know, a lot of people sit and they say, you get to pick and choose your friends, but you can't pick and choose your family. I agree to a certain extent because we grew up together. we were family who were put together. We didn't choose to be together, but we were put together. You know how they say, oh, that's my brother from another mother. Okay, well, that's my sister from a different mister. Okay, we had the opportunity to learn so many different things, growing in so many different aspects. She went to Patuxent. I came to Patuxent. I went to Patuxent after my mom passed away because I felt like I needed to have a different outlook. And just to give you a quick, real backstory, my mother was my co-defendant, and she passed away in 2000, January of 2000, at the Maryland Correctional Institution for Women. And that was one of the hardest things that I ever had to endure. So leaving MCIW to go to Patuxent was one of the best things for me. At that time in my life, I still wasn't at a place where I was ready to change, to be different, to grow and to mature. So I went over there, and when I got there, surprisingly enough, the community that she had developed and became a part of embraced me. They embraced me and they welcomed me and they treated me as if I was one of their own. But again, I wasn't at a place where I was ready to change, grow, heal, or become different. So my time there was very short-lived, but it still was an opportunity to see that there is something different. And returning back to MCIW, my turning point was in 2015 when I had the opportunity to meet with the family of my victim. Yeah, and I said victim. Yes, I was sentenced to life all suspended, but 40 years for first-degree felony murder. And the daughter of my victim fought the courts, the justice system, for 4 long years to have the opportunity to come and meet with me and to talk to me and to tell me something that I had never had anybody say to me or do for me, to tell me that she forgave me for taking her mom's life. That was a turning point for me. That made so many things in my life come into focus. It was like the shades were taken off. PUS'HER was one of the people who I had the opportunity to share this moment with. And as overwhelming as it was life-changing for me. At that point, it was when I realized that God was real, in spite of what people may say or what people may think. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, so you got to bear with me. God is real, and he will do what he says he will do. He is a restorer of those who diligently seek him. So that's what I did. I gave my life to Christ. I became a part of the church, and I started doing everything that God told me to do. And that's when I started to see the change. I wasn't in that repeat cycle. I wasn't in that cycle where I went round and round and round and round. Later on down the road, me and PUS'HER became members of the dance ministry together. We even started a prayer group together with me and her and a couple, like 2 other young ladies got together and took the time, and we read and we studied and we prayed. So it just was the opportunity for me to grow and for God to shape me and for God to mold me. Little did I know he was preparing me, you know. In 2018, I made parole. Sadly enough, I thought I was going to be home, but I wasn't. My daughter passed away in August of 2018. And that was one of the hardest things that I had to deal with. But even with that being the case, again, the village that God had created for me, the community that God had gave me, were there surrounding me. As little as those cells are, I never would have thought that you could have fit as many people in there that were there. But they all were right there, and they were supporting me, drying every tear that I had. And I'm gonna let y'all know, it took PUS'HER a long time to learn how to cook. But baby even cooked me meals to make sure that I ate, okay? So our journey has been one for the record books. It has been one for people to sit back and look on. we were the type of people in that place where people would come to you and be like, aren't you Carlita or aren't you Rhonda? And you'd be like, yeah, I am, having no clue who they are, you know. But the reason that they knew you were for all of the good and the positive things, the great impacts that you have had during your time of incarceration. When it was time for Pusher to go, it was during.
Are you moving? Hold up. Moving too fast. Let's back up. You going now? You about to give the benediction? No, you didn't preach the whole sermon, girl. Some stuff just don't change people.
You listen. You know who I am. You definitely. You know who I am.
No, all right. Slow down, because all that sound good, and I'm over here like, yeah. Oh, I remember all of that. But I also remember that there was another experience. And for me and where I am, I like to talk about those uncomfortable experiences. I like to go there. Why? Because that's where my healing is. And so I'm going to ask you a question, because everything that you said was correct. I remember before I got down there, I heard about this girl that was a bit. So when you get to the jail part, when you get incarcerated, and no, I'm not glorifying it. I'm not. But the same things that make you laugh, make you cry, some things in life that made you cry, one day will make you laugh. If you don't get that today, I swear, if you just keep thinking about it, you'll get it tomorrow. But right now, I'm going somewhere. So when you're waiting to find out your fate, you hear all these different stories about the people before you get there. And I heard this one particular story, and when I heard this story, I was like, oh yeah. I'm just going to tell y'all this. It's some things that can no longer be allowed in the institution because of this lady. That's all I'm going to say.
So she wants to talk about the uncomfortable. For me, it's not uncomfortable necessarily, because I feel like everything that God has allowed me to go through has been so that it can help me be who I am today. During the early years of my incarceration, I was not trying to hear nothing nobody had to say. I was not a nice person. Every time you turn around, I was always getting into something with somebody. So the situation is, when I am the type of person, if you with me, you with me. If we together, we together. And we not together till I say we together. Till we not together. Now, I have grown out of that. I'm not that person no more. But that's how I used to be. I used to be that person. If we together, we together. We not together because you say you don't want to be together no more. So we had a situation. Me and one of the young ladies that I was seeing got into an altercation. Let's just say a curling iron was involved. And because of me, curling irons they were allowed in your cell, but you couldn't have them out in the rec area or the day room, whichever one you choose to call it. You couldn't have them out in the rec area any longer. That was like the first 5 years of my incarceration. That was the worst part of me that I have ever seen, other than my addiction. I felt like I had to be a person who was rough and tough and wasn't taking nothing from nobody. But little did I know, I didn't have to be that person. I didn't have to create that hard exterior, or I didn't have to create that outer barrier to keep people from knowing me or getting familiar with me or even loving me or me loving them. And that's what I did. And I know what the reason is for all of that. I don't know. Pusha might not want me to step into this realm, but The reason why I became that person is because of why I felt like I was incarcerated. My story is a bitter story. My incarceration, I told you a few minutes ago, my mother was my co-defendant, and my mother was the one who turned me in. Now, it's a lot to the backstory of the actual situation that took place, the crime that happened. Me being young, dumb, and naive, not having a clue when I was arrested. Once homicide did let me know what happened, and they played me the tape of my mother telling them this story. I was 21 years old. I was mad. I was angry. I was on some get back. Okay, this is what you want to do. So I sat and I told the whole truth, not knowing that that was something that I shouldn't have did. But, that's neither here nor there. And for those first few years of my incarceration, I was bitter. I was angry. I was mad. I felt like I had been betrayed. I felt like everything that I deserved had been taken from me. And I used everything that I could possibly use to protect myself and to cover myself. So I was angry. I was mean. I was nasty. I didn't like nobody just because I felt like I needed to protect my heart. And I went through my incarceration for a very long time like that. It had gotten better. Like once my mom passed away, I didn't show it as much because I started to isolate. I didn't hang around people as much as I used to. I tend to be by myself. And all of that crap, all of that junk, it's like I was holding on to heavy armor. And in May of 2015, it was like all of that stuff fell off. It was like all of that stuff was relieved. Forgiveness is such a powerful tool, and to sit in the seat that I sat in, to have what I have, to have that given to me freely, was one of the best things that I could have ever had. It was life-changing, life-altering, and I could never, ever put into words the amount of gratitude that I have to the daughter of my victim and the granddaughter of my victim for giving me that. I feel like it was a freedom that was given to me, and I'm grateful for it.
What's amazing, every time I know about the story because I was there. I had the privilege to be there. And what's amazing about it, to share it on this side, is I want people to really understand that God was there. Like God came and seen about us. Like, although I said in one of the words as a reminder that remember years ago, my sister used to say, you may be locked up, but you're not locked out. And I never really understood it until now, like completely and fully. And sometimes, as being the woman that I am today, I find it my responsibility every now and then to really let people know that God was there. Like he has no perspective person. Like he showed up in ways in which has blown my mind. And when I get out here, I'm like, I sometimes scratch my head. And because I find myself in some listening to certain conversations, whether it be via podcasts or places, events that I'm in. And I really often wonder, do people really believe that God has no perspective person? And I oftentimes wonder about that, because once you are released, why don't people handle you like that? Why can't people see that God was operating in you while you were there? You did the work while you were there. You developed, you gained some insight. You learned how to forgive. You begin to do the work, the internal work. Why? Because you had the capacity, you had the time, and in some cases you had no choice because your very healing was dependent upon it. And then you get out here with all this free space, all this free time. And I have to really sometimes slow myself down, because when you're in there, you know how to be in the moment. You know how to be present because you have no choice. Your reality ain't changing no time soon. But out here, it just seems like it's just everything is like microwavable. And I'm like, everybody wants to skip the process. And I feel like I'm trying to figure out, do you feel like sometimes being the woman that you are today, do you feel like an alien sometimes when you are going through life struggles and you know how to process it, you know how to target the thing, you know how to deal with the thing, because it's familiar, you know what these emotions are. You've been through some stuff. So let me give an example. Have you and I always got along?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. When in the beginning, getting to know each other and learning each other, we were good because we were getting to know each other. But of course, like any family members, we had our ups and downs, and we had our situations where we went through what we went through. We've even gone years without speaking. But guess what? At the end of the day, even if we went through years without speaking, if Carlita needed Rhonda, Rhonda was there. And if Rhonda needed Carlita, Carlita was there. It didn't matter. So no, we haven't always been on the best of terms. But for me, the adjustment of freedom, I'm not going to say it was difficult, but there were trials. There are times when I can have, okay, so let me say this. I have a friend, and she has been having struggles, and I have struggles definitely, because life be life, and we all know this. But much like you say, because of where we've been and what we've gone through and how we in that place, God took the opportunity to train us. People may not see it that way, but God took the opportunity to train us. And in training us, what he was training us for, he was training us to be soldiers to live in the world today. I didn't realize that at the time. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that every person that came across my path was put into my life to pour something into me to prepare me for today. So when I go through situations and I have things in front of me, what I do is I do exactly what you said. I have to take the time and I have to sit, and I have to first off, I have to process it. May sound a little crazy to you, but once I process it, I sit back and I think about what would 2020 Rhonda do with this situation? What would 2019 Rhonda do with this situation? And then sometimes I have to compartmentalize and take one piece of it at a time, because that's how I was taught. That's what I was taught to do. That's how I was trained. And that's how I get through my day to day. Oh, don't get me wrong. I have my moments because, of course, me being who I am, I have my therapist on speed dial. I don't play. So when the opportunity presents itself, or if I get a little overwhelmed, I'll call it. It may not be my time for my weekly session. Yes, I said weekly. It may not be time for my weekly session, but she has not a problem with me calling her if I do need a voice of reason. And I do need that from time to time. So sometimes I feel like I have to reach out to or connect to somebody who knows where I came from or knows where I have been, in order to help me settle myself or create a balance for myself, because sometimes some people just don't get it. I had somebody say to me, why do you always reflect on or go back to your incarceration? Without my incarceration, sweetie, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. No, I do not live off of my incarceration, but I will never forget it, because without it, I would not be who I am right now.
I ain't even gonna touch that. I'm gonna practice my right to remain silent. I was just getting ready to hop on that thing, but I'm just so glad. You see, thank God for emotional intelligence. I'm gonna will myself on back, will it back. All right. So that I believe in and you believe in the power of forgiveness and reconciliation. And listening to you talk, what is helping me even today is you were a part of my first family where I learned how to, when you first get there, especially I'm young, y'all been there for a minute. But it was like y'all were the first group that scooped me up. Like, come on, like, go to school. Let me show you how to make your bed up, clean your room. And all those things. Y'all were the first group of people who did that. To introduce me to prison life and prison etiquette. I'm gonna call it prison etiquette. Y'all were the first family, the ones that taught me that, and that kind of broke me in. And listening to you talk and playing back a lot of things that you and I personally have been through, and how, we have been in and out, but always there, if that makes sense. From my beginnings to my present. And it's fascinating to me, because we oftentimes be angry at our families. We be angry because they didn't do this, because they didn't do that, they didn't say this right. But the family that we hate, we have the same issues. But we learn in there how to come back and make it right. And I'm not saying that we always came back and made it right, but what we had and what we knew, we used that to make it right. And every time we would come back, our relationship will be stronger. But then when something else would happen, we'd take a little breather and then come back, our relationship would be stronger. And I'm thinking back, I'm playing in my mind, like, if I can do that in there, then I don't have no problem with mending relationships and saying I'm sorry and will you forgive me. Like, it comes through, it just frees out of me naturally, because if you can overcome the challenges of maintaining and sustaining relationships while you're in prison, what you have, you definitely can do something different on this end of the spectrum. Because I know, and you can vouch for this, I tell the truth, so they already know that I used to be a carbon copy of different people. They already know that. They already know that it's no secret. They already know that I've made some decisions while incarcerated that was not conducive to, productivity. They already know all of that, because I don't make it no secret. And the thing that is fascinating me, and I hope that you all in the chat, and if you have any questions, please, we will answer the questions. Renee answering before me. I'm trying to tell you, she will answer the questions before me. I be stalling and dancing around before I answer the difficult questions sometimes. But no, real talk, in all honesty, it's like some relationships. What's one thing? I'm gonna ask you a serious question, and then I'm gonna liven it up. You know how we used to do an ABP?
Yes.
Yeah, just like we used to do at AVP. I'm gonna ask you a serious, and then I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit with something funny. What is, and I want you to tell the truth, okay?
Absolutely.
Tell the truth. What is the one thing that I have done or said that hurt you, and you have never been able to say it to me as is? What is that one thing? If you can go back. I know it's a lot.
So
just say it.
For you, no, let me say this. in dealing with you, because of the type of person that you are not a person who likes conflict. You don't like conflict. So for me, one of the things that you used to do, and you did it all the time, and it irritated me so bad. Oh my God, it really irritated me so bad.
All right, hold up.
And
Tell me in my ear. Tell me in my ear.
No. I used to feel like you did it on purpose because you knew, but it was absolutely nothing. It was absolutely nothing. You wouldn't say nothing. You wouldn't do nothing. You wouldn't come around. You wouldn't have nothing to say. And rather than addressing the issue, because obviously something happened because you shut down, and leaving me in limbo of trying to figure out, well, what happened? Like, what did I do? What did I say? I'm in limbo trying to figure out what happened or what went on or what took place. But rather than you say, hey, this happened and I might need some space or whatever. I know sometimes during our incarceration and in our lives, we are not at a place where we're ready to confront certain things. We may have to take a seat and just reflect on that thing and let it do what it needs to do before we go and address that situation. But that's the one thing that used to irritate all of the HE double hockey sticks out of me. And I used to be like, why? Because it has a person, it's not funny, because it would have a person sitting back in their mind trying to figure out what is going on, like what happened, especially if you don't know what's going on. Excuse me for one quick.
So you in the chat, if you have any questions, I'm telling you, tap in, because she trying to bring something out of me and I ain't letting it happen. Not tonight. Somebody give me a time.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
Somebody give me a time check, because she trying to pull something out of me and I'm trying to control it, honey. Hey. All right. Where was we? All right. You know what? I can take full accountability because I remember. I remember. I take full responsibility, because two truths can exist at the same time. And what you were thinking, both thoughts that you had were true. One, I knew what I was doing. Two, I lacked the emotional intelligence to articulate what I was doing, if that makes sense. Because back then, you don't tell people you don't share your vulnerability. You don't give that away to nobody. That's how you learn to value who you are. And I believe being an introvert, being reserved, because that's all it is, just me being who I am, just a little toxic. Sprinkled on it. But understand that I take full responsibility, because I knew when you hurt me and I didn't like it. And I wanted you to know. But the one thing that I knew would have hurt you more than anything was my silence. And for that, forgive me. I can own that, because I remember. But I know the one person that has always been constant, no matter what, was you. We can argue, we can fight, but when the rubber meets the road, when it matters, that's family. No, we didn't get along. No, we didn't always say the right things to each other or about each other. But somehow, some way, when it dealt with the heart, not the images and the ideas of the person, the superficial person. I'm talking about the core of the person. When that mattered, It was all hands. Everybody showed up. Everybody, when it mattered. And for that, thank you. And for that, thank you for allowing yourself to even being able to see yourself, to even see your process and your progress. And now to be a woman, you even sound different. You even look different. And I'm telling you, I don't care what it is that you desire to do, and however you decide to do it. Do it. Why? Because we know what it feels like to be talked about. We did it to each other. We know what it feels like to act like we cool and we not. Why? Because we did it to each other. We can handle this out here. I'm trying to tell you. Do not allow anything or anybody disrupt the path that God has set out for you. Why? Because you said it earlier. He trained you for this.
Exactly.
He equipped you for this. Not everybody's story can say that when I was in prison, my victim showed up and forgave me. And not only that, she fought for me. That's not everybody's story. That is how we glorify God. That's how we share what God has done for us while we were in there. And now he continues to show favor on top of favor, on top of favor. Reap your harvest. I'm trying to tell you. I remember. I'm trying to tell you. I remember. But God. Remember Chad used to say, could any good thing come out of MCIW? Any good thing
come out of MCIW.
When you hear that, now that you're on this spectrum, how does that make you? What comes to your heart, your mind when you hear that? Can any good thing come out of MCIW? That was spoken to us and over us so many years ago. That question. And now being on this side, good God Almighty. It's overwhelming, right?
It definitely is. I can't see you.
You can't see me? Your screen is frozen, but we're going to get it gathered. I'm trying to tell you. Don't even worry about it. Just keep talking.
It definitely is. When I think about it, when I sit back and I remember and I reflect on everything, and I think about, I'm here, even though my face not here, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you.
When I sit back and I think about, like I said before, everything that has been spoken over my life, and I sit back and I think about it, and I see how God has moved and how God has changed and how God has shifted so many things in my life. I had a prophetess speak over my life and tell me, I don't know what you're doing and why you're waiting, but write the book.
You need to be plugged in. Shout outs to Global Butterfly Effects. Reading you can feel. You need to be plugged in, baby. We got you in this community. Just let us know when you're ready. A lot of people don't understand. One of the things that helps us heal is writing. One of the things that helps us heal is listening. One of the things that helps us heal is just not so much talking and doing. You gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. Because if you do not do the work, how will you be able to tell the story? How will you be able to tell the goodness? the greatness, the magnitude of the God that you're telling people about. For some people, it's in their speaking. For some people, it's in their singing. For some people, it's in their rapping. For some people, it's in their poetry. For some people, it's in the way they dance. And some people, it's in the way that you serve. It's in however it is, whatever that you do when you are giving of yourself. It's in that place. It's not in the place of self-pleasure. It's not. What are 3 things you have learned at your time from MCIW?
3 things that I have learned during my time of incarceration at MCIW. Number 3 would be, I have learned patience. Patience is one of the biggest things that I learned from MCIW. And I know without it, you will definitely lose your mind. Number 2 would be, I have learned integrity. Integrity means everything, and integrity speaks to who you are. And number 1 would be honesty. Without honesty, you are nobody. Because people have to have honesty, integrity, and they definitely have to have patience to withstand in the world that we live in today.
That's powerful. That really, really is powerful. So what would you say to the woman or the man that is on their way out, or that has come out and they're not making a move because they are holding themselves hostage in their past, in the fact that they were incarcerated, in the fact that they even made poor choices while incarcerated? They just feel like it is no hope for them, that like they can't change. What would you say to that person?
What I would say to that person is, search your inner self, because within your inner self is always that little girl or that little boy who did not see all of the negativity that goes on in the world today. So search your inner self and look for that little girl and that little boy who held that innocence, who saw the world as a fairy tale. When you saw that world as a fairy tale, you had superheroes. Now envision yourself as that superhero. Stand up and stand tall and visualize what it is that you want. Visualize those things that you see yourself doing, having, and being, and don't stop until you get those things. You have to be a force to be reckoned with in order to survive in society today. One of the things I did while I was incarcerated was, and I think a couple of us did it because we had conversations about it, we created a release book. And in creating a release book, we really actually sat down and cut out pictures of how we wanted our houses to look, how we wanted our cars to look, the jobs that we wanted, the jobs that we wanted for ourselves, the people that we really wanted to interact in our lives, places that we wanted to go, foods that we wanted to eat. We all actually sat back and did those things. I wish I could find mine right now because I keep it by me. Yeah, absolutely. We took the time and we really sat back and we planned our lives out. So if you haven't had the opportunity to have people around you to encourage you to do something like that, take the time and sit down now and do it. Write down where you see yourself in 3 years. Write down where you see yourself in 90 days. Take the time out. And I don't know about you, Pusher, but I have sat back and I have checked off the things in this book that I have done. I use my book daily. That book, exactly, Kitty. That book has been a great inspiration for me. Yes.
I still got my book.
Hold on to it because that book helps you become who you are today without putting that vision. The word says, write the vision and make it plain. And that's what we did. So if you have not had the opportunity to do something like that, get yourself a book. You don't even need a book. Get yourself a few sheets of paper and write down what it is.
what you desire for yourself, where you see yourself in 90 days, and you take and write down the steps that it takes to get to those things, and you start making moves. That's all you need to do. And then you need to circle yourself with people who can help these things manifest. You got to put yourself in a group of people. Create a network. For me, I was luckily enough for Pusher. She was luckily enough to have God do that for her. God put those people in place. God put her in those places. God put me in those places. But if God is not moving for you when it comes to those type of things, move. My mother used to say to me when I was younger, closed mouths don't get fed.
I know that's right.
So if you have something that you want or something that you desire, don't stop until you get it.
That's what's up. I got one more. I got a few questions, but that's crazy. I keep my book. I write in my book. I add to my book. That's crazy that you would bring that up. I take it everywhere I go most times. It's in my laptop case. I don't know why, but I just keep it near and dear. And it was right on my laptop thing, and I done dropped all my books. Oh my goodness. Get to it. But yeah, anyway, what do you think one of the biggest misconceptions people have that are out here of people that have been incarcerated? What do you think the biggest misconception is?
The biggest misconception I believe that people have of those who have been incarcerated is they feel like people can't change. They feel like people can't be different. They feel like people aren't willing to put the work in to be a better person, to be a better you. And that's not the case for everybody. You do have some who become statistics, but you have those who fight, who put the work in, who take the steps to change, to be better, to be different, to be the best version of themselves that they possibly can be. So that's my thought. I feel like people who've been incarcerated, they can't change.
Wow, and I think that is so sad. That's so sad. I think conversations like this are necessary. They are necessary so that people can see that God was there. Like, he wasn't outside the gates. He wasn't hovering over top. He was in the inside.
He was in the trenches with us.
He was there. He was there. And I think sometimes, if not all the time, what I've learned to do, instead of trying to prove myself, because I've been doing that most of my life, just be myself. And I think that is what is different about me today versus me back then. Back then, I was trying to prove something. Well, I don't know. But now, I am wholeheartedly being who I am. We need a part 2 singing, bring her back. Wow. So y'all can ask her so she can tell y'all the tea.
And I got to say.
If nobody, I'm telling you, if nobody can tell you nobody can tell you anything about me, and I would tell you to question it, except her, because I know that we've been through some stuff. And see, I know just like there was some dark days, there was some days of joy and celebration and all of that. And so from 1998, for me, all the way to 2025, this lady is still popping up. And I don't look for her. She just pop up. When I got sick and was in the hospital, for some reason, this lady was right there because I had a job there. She had to help me get seen. She just keep popping up.
I told you, we don't have no control over the family that God gives us. The family that he gives us is the family that he gives us.
Remember what she said at the beginning? She said, once we together, we together.
We together. We are together.
No, but all seriousness, I love it. And this is what I desire, that blesses people. Just having organic conversations, even with the people that know me now, that know me today, this version of myself, who is much more healthier, who is much more mature. I don't want them to think that I know they don't think that I'll be lying, but every now and then it is good to have a witness to let you know.
Amen.
I wasn't always a good girl. I wasn't always a good girl, but no. My sister oftentimes, y'all better break that possessive spirit. She said, once we together, I love it. They call me possessive for it, and that's okay.
Thank you.
But no, most, if not most of my life lessons has come from my interaction, my relationship with Rhonda. I do not call her Rhonda, I call her Renee. I sound ridiculous calling her Rhonda, because that's
right.
not what I call her. I call her Renee, and that is just because that she has been my family, the real kind, raw and authentic. I know what she looked like when she's not crying ugly. I know what she sound like when she happy and overjoyed, and vice versa. And I just appreciate that today as women, we can laugh about, we can travel back in time and just thank God for bringing us through, but laugh at some of that silliness that we didn't put each other through, or we went through apart from each other, that today we could just look back and be like, wow, thank you, God. You rescued me. I'm trying to tell you. But I think that it's good for people to see that those relationships exist, and those relationships can be sustained, and those relationships are meaningful, because you didn't handpick that relationship. God did it.
Right.
And so I definitely appreciate you being brave and pushing forward with us. I'm going to encourage you to just tap in, go back and watch some more, girl. We be doing it. And of course, they want you back. But if you want to see Rhonda Renee back, you have to go to pusherlife.org and let me know that you want to see her back, and she will be back. Oh, you got Serena Williams. And hey, girl, look, the whole tribe is the whole tribe coming out. Yes. As always, so we will, if you want to see her back, you in the chat, God did. Yes. The intro to the music and the intro, you can go to IG, find High Def Tone. That is his music. Christian artist who produces his own sound and writes his own music from his heart. So go to IG and check him out. Shout out to the Ladies League of Baltimore for your support, always coming through for your girl. Shout out to Pivot Workforce Development, where your past does not define your future. Shout out to Global Butterfly Effects, where reading you can feel. And shout out to having an author that is still behind the belly of the beast. So I definitely appreciate you taking a leap of faith and investing in someone who is still incarcerated. That means so much to me. That you are willing to jump out there and invest in someone who has something to say and something to offer to the community even before they get here. So thank you for that. And you in the chat, I appreciate you for always coming through for your girl, no matter what, always pushing. Until you want to give any shout out?
Not necessarily shout outs. I do have to give my boo, Serena. I love you. Thank you, baby, for supporting. I just want to say I appreciate this opportunity because it has definitely been a big reflection. It has given me an opportunity to sit back and think, and just to toss it out there, coming to you soon. The girls, June the 1st will be a published author. Gotta toss it out there, as well as people have been asking. So my bio will be out at the end of the month. So,
Yes.
look
She
for it
she
on
came through
Amazon.
dropping Drew.
It'll be there. It'll be there. So I thank you and I appreciate you for this opportunity. And if you want me back, put it in the chat. I definitely will be here.
Yeah, so we will definitely have Renee come back, and especially to talk about her book. We can definitely chop it up about that. So we definitely will have her back. I'll get her date and time locked in, and we will have her back because there is so much was shared, and so much that has been left unsaid,
right,
and about your story. And I definitely want to expound a little more on the power of forgiveness, mainly the power of forgiveness. That's something that I definitely want to explore. We have done work on forgiveness, and not even realizing that what was going on until now. And so I definitely want to expound a little bit more on your journey so that we can help someone who may be struggling with forgiveness, who is still holding themselves hostage in whatever it is that they've been through. So I appreciate you, Renee, for coming through. And so yes, me behind the scenes, we will talk about it and get a date and have her back. The community wants you, and so definitely got to have you back. I appreciate you as always. I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Your girl is going back in celebratory mode when we get off of here, because my birthday is coming up on Mother's Day. Shout outs to all the mothers, but you got to share your day with me. I'm trying to tell you. So we won't be doing this thing together. Happy Mother's Day, happy birthday, happy Mother's Day. We're gonna be doing it all day. So get ready. No. I love you all. Thank you very much. Rhonda, stay on. Do not hang up. All right?
Okay.
It is your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. No, really say that thing out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. Have you gotten your copy of It Takes One to Know One workbook and journal and people pusher? No, then travel over to pusherlife.org, go to the author's page, and you will find It Takes One to Know One and People Pusher. Come tap in.